He's back to pass. Pressure coming. He's going to get hit in the end zone. That's going to be a safety.
It's now time for Gridiron, State of the Union.
Another touchdown, Porter Ridge, and they've gone up. The score is 23-17.
Presented by DMR Reconstruction, North Carolina's leader in quality insurance restoration services, with crews on standby 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. DMR Reconstruction has your restoration needs covered. Give them a call at 704-327-4028.
He's going to hand it off to Byram. Byram on the right-hand side. He's going to be into the end zone. Touchdown, Monroe.
Gridiron State of the Union is your insider's look each week into Union County High School football.
Malcolm fires one off, and it's into the end zone. Touchdown, Piedmont.
Now we head into the DMR Reconstruction Studio and your host, Brian Stevenson.
Last week, Cuthbertson clinched at least a share of the conference championship for the first time in school history. Marvin Ridge made it 3 wins in a row, and for the first time, the Rocky River Conference champion will come from outside of Union County. Those are the headlines tonight. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Gridiron State of the Union. I'm your host, Brian Stevenson. It is the last week of the high school football regular season, and that means a lot of big rivalry games. So, with a report on last week's action and a preview of what's coming up this week, we take our trip around Union. And as every week, we start with Sideline Mike and our WIXE Game of the Week.
The WIXE Game of the Week features one of the longest-running rivalries in Union County, Monroe versus Forest Hills. Last week, Monroe defeated West Stanley 54-7 as Desmond Robinson returned 2 interceptions and a punt for touchdowns in the victory. Their opponent, Friday night, Forest Hills, is coming off of a 42-28 win over Central Academy. The win improves the Jackets' record to 5-5 overall and 3-1 in the Rocky River Conference. For the first time in recent memory, Friday night's game will not determine the conference champion. Instead, it will be a battle for second place in the Rocky River Conference. Monroe has won the past 3 meetings. Tune in on Friday night for our WIXE Game of the Week. Now let's go to Reed Alexander with our Game 2 matchup.
Game 2 of our doubleheader features Marvin Ridge and Weddington. A month ago, no one would have given the Mavericks a chance, but Coach Brad Hoover has his team believing and on a 3-game winning streak. Last week, Marvin Ridge won again. This time they defeated Anson 35-14. If they were to pull the upset at Weddington Friday night, they would get the 2nd seed in the Southern Carolina Conference. Their opponent on Friday, Weddington, is having one of their best seasons, though. Last week, Weddington shut out Piedmont 30-0. It was their 2nd shutout in a row and their 3rd of the season. Tune in to see who wins this rivalry game as Game 2 of our doubleheader Friday night. Now let's go to Shane Green with the report on Parkwood at Central Academy.
Parkwood at Central Academy features 2 teams coming off of a loss last week. Parkwood fell to Mount Pleasant 46-13. Trey Butler was the bright spot for the Rebels. He scored both touchdowns on 2 highlight reel runs, but the Rebel defense could not stop the running attack of the Tigers. Their opponent Friday night is Central Academy. Central is one of the most improved teams in the county this year, but they could not get the win last week. They lost to Forest Hills 42-28. Now let's go to Ken Ogden.
Union Academy travels to North Stanley this week. Last Friday, the Cardinals fell to Albemarle 37-6. UA only managed 73 yards in the game. The loss drops the Cardinals to 4-6 overall and 4-3 in the Yadkin Valley Conference. Their opponent, North Stanley, is 7-3 and 5-2 in conference play. Next up, Cuthbertson at Piedmont. Cuthbertson won at least a share of the Southern Carolina Conference title with a hard-fought 42-41 win over Sun Valley on Monday night. Quarterback Austin Kendall threw 4 touchdown passes in the win, 3 of those to B.J. Muckelveen. It's the first football conference title in the school's 6-year history. A win against Piedmont on Friday night would give them the title outright. Piedmont is coming off a tough shutout loss at the hands of Weddington. The Panthers have now lost 2 straight. Friday night will be senior night at Piedmont. The Panthers hope they can capture their emotion of the night and keep the Cavaliers from having sole possession of first place. Now let's go to Derek Skinner.
The Sun Valley Spartans head to Anson County trying to salvage what started out as a really good season. Last Friday night they lost to Cuthbertson by 1 point. The Spartans failed to convert 2 extra points in the fourth quarter, making that 1-point loss even more difficult. It was also the first time all season that Sun Valley had lost on the road. A Spartan win could propel the team into the playoffs with an at-large berth. Porter Ridge at Rocky River is next. Last week, the Pirates got their second win of the season when they defeated East Mecklenburg 48-34. It was by far their largest point output of the season. The Pirates will wrap up the 2014 campaign on Friday night at Rocky River. Rocky River is 6-4 on the year. Now let's head back to the studio and Brian Stevenson.
Thanks a lot, Derek. When we come back, we'll have our roundtable segment with Shane Green. Stick around. Gridiron State of the Union. We'll be right back.
Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Gridiron State of the Union, brought to you exclusively by DMR Reconstruction. Fire, water, wind, or mold damage, they are your go-to source. And if you're thinking about remodeling, from the tip top of the roof to the bottom of the foundation, they can handle it for you. Windows, doors, paint, floors, vinyl siding, they do it all at DMR Reconstruction. Stop by and visit their showroom on Highway 74 in Marshville, North Carolina. You'll be glad you did. 704-327-4028, 327-4028, and they hope you're enjoying the Gridiron State of the Union, brought to you by DMR Reconstruction.
Welcome back to Gridiron State of the Union. Time now for our roundtable segment, and I'm joined by Shane Green. And Shane, we're down to that final week of the season, and of course the one you'll be calling with Sideline Mike on Friday night. Monroe and Forest Hills, this is always a big rivalry game in Union County.
Yeah, it is, and you and I were talking just before we went on there about maybe whether it had lost a little bit of its luster, and I guess you could say that, but from the standpoint of it being a rivalry game, I really don't think you have. I think you're going to have a packed house. Everybody's going to come out for some reason. You go to Monroe, a lot of times the crowd is lackluster, but when it's Monroe and Forest Hills, they show up in droves every year.
Absolutely, and, it is disappointing to both teams that they're not going to win the Rocky River. Of course, we saw Mount Pleasant last week. They're the real deal, and they're going to take that trophy home to Cabarrus County. But like you said, it's a rivalry game. There's only a few miles that separate these two teams, and they've been doing this one for a long, long time.
Well, we even got complacent. We're so accustomed to Monroe and Forest Hills running the Rocky River Conference that Mount Pleasant snuck up on us, I think, in a lot of ways like they did Monroe and Forest Hills and everybody else. But no, it's two of the original five schools. I love the fact that both of the coaches are two of the longest tenured in the county. I love the fact that they are so endeared to the programs they coach, and I just think it's a special game no matter what the season record is.
Absolutely. Well put. Well, let's switch over to a team that doesn't have a lot of history, the Cuthbertson Cavaliers, 6 seasons into their school history, and they have won at least a share of that Southern Carolina Conference title and just had an amazing season with quarterback Austin Kendall.
Man, they have. They've had an incredible season. And, Coach Roark was out there. I thought the world of Coach Roark. I thought they were turning a corner then. A lot of people don't realize when a school loses a coach, sometimes it takes 2 or 3 seasons to recover from that. Cuthbertson has hit the ground running, and it seems like every time they play, they look like a better football team than they did the week before.
Well, they've got quite the win streak going, and we'll try to put the bow on it at Piedmont on Friday night. Now, of course, there's going to be some emotion there with Coach Massey playing for him and senior night. And, of course, I think there's a little bit of, we can knock these guys off the mountain a little bit. So this could turn out to be a really good ball game.
Yeah, well, moral victory is what Piedmont's looking for. I mean, they did not have the season they wanted. It certainly didn't do anything for the program, losing Coach Massey as suddenly as they did. I think Coach Belt's great. I think he's going to do a good job with them out at Piedmont. So, yeah, they're looking to cap this one off with a big win, and I think it could be a really good football game.
Well, there's no doubt it's going to be a great Friday night. We're looking forward to it, and, of course, you guys will have the call. Forest Hills and Monroe, as always, here on 1190. Shane Green, our roundtable segment guest this week. Now, when we come back, I will have a conversation with the coach of the Redhawks, Johnny Sowell.
This quick break in the action is brought to you by DMR Reconstruction, the exclusive sponsor of the Gridiron State of the Union. One of these days, you're going to want to do home improvement. New windows, new doors. Maybe you got hardwood floors you want to refinish, or you need new carpet or flooring. DMR Reconstruction is your go-to source. They also specialize in fire, water, wind, and mold damage restoration. They'll even help you deal with the insurance companies. Visit the showroom in Marshville, North Carolina, or give them a call at 704-327-4028, 24/7 for emergencies, 327-4028. Let them know you heard about them here on Wixie. And now back to more of the Gridiron State of the Union, brought to you by DMR Reconstruction.
Welcome back to Gridiron State of the Union, and I'm joined now by the coach of the Red Hawks, Johnny Sal. And, Coach, we know what it means. It's the last week of the season. It's the rivalry game in Monroe and Forest Hills. And I know this is a big one for the kids and the community, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. And I've been involved with it 29 years. So the tradition is still there. It's a serious rivalry, and it helps the team that wins get a little closer to a home game as far as playoff times.
Is there any loss of luster or is anybody down a little bit? Because usually this is for a conference championship, and this is the last. I can't remember when it was not for some stake of the conference title.
Oh, well, it's not for conference title, but it is for playoffs. So, the winner's got a better chance to get a home game. The loser may be on the road the whole time. So it's important.
Tell me about how your team's been preparing this week and getting ready to, as you say, gear up for the playoffs.
Well, I think they're loose. I mean, we didn't want to put a lot of pressure on them about the rivalry. They know that themselves. We wanted them to be more relaxed and focus on what we had to do. We put the game plan in on Monday, and Monday and Tuesday they did a great job, and then they were just fine-tuning it.
What will be the key to coming out on top and having that momentum going into the playoffs?
Well, we got to get the ball, and we got to control the ball, whether it's passing or running. And when they get the ball, we got to do a good job of getting them 1, 2, 3 and out.
This has been a different season. Probably would rather have a few more wins, and I'm sure everyone in the county would like another shot at Mount Pleasant. What has been the difference this year? Is it youth, injuries, a combination of things that maybe don't quite have the Red Hawks where you would like them?
Well, I think it's got a lot to do with the injuries. We normally lose a guy here and there, but when you lose 3 and 4 guys at one time, and then that fourth guy is your quarterback, then it backs you up a little bit. But we're healthy going now.
That has to be a good feeling. And do you think maybe some people might underestimate the Red Hawks going into the playoffs?
Well, I hope they do, and I hope we're ready to play when they do.
Has it that loss to Mount Pleasant, has that maybe put any motivation? Has that caused some seniors to maybe step up and say a few things in practice?
Well, that game was a 10-7 game. We had the ball at the end with opportunities to get in field goal range or get an opportunity to score. That didn't happen. Overall, we felt like, we get a shot at it again, it may be a different result, but we got to take care of our own selves first.
Final thoughts. Your team's getting ready to go in on Friday night, take on Forest Hills Yellow Jackets.
It's going to be a physical game. Our kids know them. We know their coaches. Can't make mistakes. Special teams is going to be crucial.
Thanks a lot, Coach Johnny Sal, for being our Coach's Corner guest this week. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, stick around. We'll have our UCPreps.com UC Top 3 and also my extra points right after this.
Hey, we'll be back to more Gridiron State of the Union in just a moment, but in the meantime, every person wants to be part of a winning team, and I want to tell you about the winning team over at DMR Reconstruction. Now, if you have fire, water, wind, or mold damage to your home, they can help you. They'll help you deal with the insurance company. They'll make it look better than it did before the accident ever happened. But did you know that they also do all kinds of home improvement? They're licensed general contractors. You thinking about new kitchen cabinets, new floors, new countertops? Maybe you need a new door. Maybe you need to paint or new vinyl siding, refinishing floors, installing carpet. They do it all at DMR Reconstruction, and they are your winning team. 704-327-4028, 327-4028, or visit the brand new showroom, Highway 74 in Marshville. It's DMR Reconstruction, exclusive sponsors of the Gridiron State of the Union and the DMR Red Zone. And now back to more action with the Gridiron State of the Union.
Welcome back to Gridiron State of the Union. Time now for our UCPreps.com, the UC Top 3. Coming in at number 3, the Monroe Redhawks. Number 2, the Cuthbertson Cavaliers. And number 1, the Weddington Warriors.
Time for extra points.
In my extra points tonight, this may be the final game of organized football for a lot of young men. For others who make the playoffs, the season starts new next week. Either way you look at it, though, the season is starting to draw to a close. And no matter if you're a player or fan, enjoy the moment, have a good time, and realize just how much fun this game of football really is. And with that, we are all out of time. Special thanks to DMR Reconstruction for sponsoring our show each week, and thank you for listening. We have examined the state of our union, and I can report it is good. Good night, everybody.